Hi everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I am back with another review. And today we are taking a look at from the Transformers Robots in Disguise line. This is Legion Class Clampdown. Clampdown's an interesting figure. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it, and basically I look at this figure sort of like in the same category as Springload, where instead of having a traditional robotic mode with maybe some beast accoutrements, this is a robotic crab that turns into a vehicle. And that's its main mode. There's really no traditional bipedal robotic design here. It's very much like a crab. If I remember correctly from the show, Clampdown was like a two-bit hood who was, worked with Thunderhoof and apparently was the reason why Thunderhoof got arrested in the first place. So I think it's kind of cool that they're coming in the same wave. As you can see, the robot mode, I figure I'll call it robot mode, is very close to the animation model. Obviously, there have been some liberties taken, as you can see here with the feet and excuse me, with the hands and the claws. Even though the claws, let me see if I can bring this in for you, have been somewhat molded in. You can see right about here, and then that under part, but unfortunately, there's no painting on the details to highlight the molding or anything, so it's very hard to pick out. Other than that, you do have the mouth, which is, I want to say, a little articulated because of how it's assembled. You can bounce it up and down. And then, of course, the eyes, which are adjustable. But really, I noticed from transformation, there's like a couple soft detents that hold them in this position, but they do get knocked around when you move the arms. As I've mentioned, this is like a crab mode, and thus, as you can see, he can't stand on its own. Uh, you have to use the hands for balance and support because you do have those little crab legs, which are ball jointed. But yeah, I mean the colors match up fairly well to the show, and it really is cool. And the transformation is very unique because you have this very expressive, I want to say like anime style crab robot that turns into a rather nondescript car. And unless you know where you're looking, you really don't see the crab parts. So we're going to get to the transformation right now. Okay, for first step of transformation is what you want to do. Well, move the arms out of the way just so they're a little less angled down, and then take the crab legs. As I mentioned, they're on ball joints, and you want to just rotate them up, and peg, not peg them, but fold them under the roof here of the car. And there are teeny tiny little tabs that will hold that into place, so that will fit. And then what you can go ahead and do is bring up the entire front section. I would recommend just bringing the wheels forward, so you basically have all of that section of the car done. And then what you can go ahead and do, just rotate the arms behind you, get them out of the way. I will mention that I think the arms sometimes do have a tendency to get in the way. Now, apparently the mouth is supposed to close and stay closed on its own. I sometimes have an issue with that. Folding the eyes up and under, which is the next step of the transformation, does help, but as you can see right here, it doesn't always work. But don't worry, there is, once the arms are in place for vehicle mode, that will secure the mouth closed. Next, what you want to go ahead and do is rotate the rear, what were the crab claws. You can just rotate them around, and that'll become the rear panels of the car, and thus you can then just press everything up, and then what'll happen is there is a little slot here on the inside of the crab hand that will peg into that tab right there, which is actually kind of interesting. I think that's maybe just part of the molding, but it's nice that it's being reused as a tab. And you can, sometimes you have to give it a little squeeze to get it all up in there, get things lined up properly. Um, and then what you want to do is the mouth can actually rotate, so you just want to make sure that's properly straight so you have a normal looking car. And there you have Clampdown in its vehicle mode. The transformation is fun. I'll be very honest with you, this is not one of my favorite Decepticons, and it's the back section here. Like I said, you have to really squeeze it in. I'm looking for additional, additional locking points in the vehicle, and really the only pegging point is that back spot in the rear. But it's not my favorite figure thus far. I mean, the transformation's kind of interesting. I like how the eyes can roll underneath, and that basically once you have that grill shut, I mean, if you didn't know that was the mouth, you could just figure that was detailing and what have you, and you have this little compact two-door type of thing going on. Could have sworn that in the show I thought it was like an older type of hatchback, but who knows? But this is kind of cool, and to be honest with you, as has been said before, not all the Decepticons are going to get Warrior class figures, and I think in terms of size, I think I like Clampdown as a Legion class figure, going with the Warrior class figures, just because there is that size difference. I'm sure a lot of people are going to say it's too small, but then, you know, if they made a Warrior class version that was half the size of everybody else, but sold it at that price point, would people complain? So we'll just pause here, and I'll give you my final thoughts. Clampdown's an okay figure. As I mentioned, the transformation's fun. There are, the part at the end where you have to take the arms in is a little annoying. Also, if you don't fold the crab legs the right way, they do have a tendency to pop off the ball joint. And funny enough, when I got this figure out of packaging, the arm was popped off. But it's all ball joints and it comes together quite nicely. But then again, when dealing with these type of figures and it's all ball joints, it's very hard to get things lined up just the way you want to due to tolerances and what have you. I got this figure off of eBay, paid around $7.99, which is roughly retail price. I mean, for some people that might be a little high for a Legion figure nowadays. I know some stores jack them up to, almost $9.99, and I definitely would not recommend paying that for this or any other Legion figure. But if you're a fan of Clampdown, last time I checked, there was not even a one-step change around the horizon, so this might really be your best shot at getting a fun little Clampdown figure to knock around on your desk. Personally, I would buy a Thunderhoof before Clampdown, but that's just me. So, for Clampdown, it's your old pal Chuck. We'll see you next time.